We will learn today, with God's help, Parshat Vetchanan. It is a bit strange, because we are still standing on the eve of Tisha B'Av. This portion, Maimonides says, is always read after Tisha B'Av, so says Maimonides. Parshat Vetchanan is the portion read after Tisha B'Av. Later we will see a bit more of the connection between the portion and Tisha B'Av. But this portion is also called Shabbat Nakamu, after the name of the Haftarah. In truth, this entire portion, a very special portion containing the Ten Commandments and the Shema Yisrael, opens with Moses' supplication to enter the land of Israel, which is very, very relevant to these days. Today, on the eve of Tisha B'Av, there was weeping for no reason, a lack of desire to enter the land of Israel, a lack of readiness to dedicate oneself to the land of Israel. Moses repairs this through his prayer. Moses shows us what the land of Israel is. It is written thus, "And I besought the Lord at that time, saying, O Lord God, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and your strong hand, for what God is there in heaven or on earth that can do according to your works and according to your mighty deeds? Let me go over, I pray you, and see the good land that is beyond the Jordan, that goodly mountain, and Lebanon. But the Lord was wroth with me for your sakes, and hearkened not unto me, and the Lord said unto me, Let it suffice thee, speak no more unto me of this matter." Seemingly, Moses was not answered. And he was not answered not after asking once, but after praying 515 prayers, corresponding to the numerical value of Vetchanan. The gematria of Tefillah, prayer without the letter Yud, is also 515. Moses gave his all in this prayer. The Ramchal wrote a book, 515 prayers for the redemption, as a continuation of Moses's prayers, and seemingly he was not answered. But we will learn the great significance of Moses's prayers, and where they truly influenced us greatly. I begin with the word Vetchanan. Rashi says, Vetchanan, chinan, supplication, everywhere is only an expression of a free gift. Even though the righteous could rely on their good deeds, they ask nothing of the Omnipresent except a free gift. Because he said to him, "And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious," he spoke to him with the expression Vetchanan. Another explanation. This is one of the 10 expressions used for prayer as stated in the Sifrei. That is to say, the first explanation emphasizes precisely that this is grace chinan, free chinam. The second explanation says, no, prayer itself is called supplication tekina. At that time, after I conquered the land of Sihon and Og, I thought that perhaps the vow was annulled. Moses conquered the land of Sihon and Og located on the eastern side of the Jordan, and essentially began entering the land, but not crossing the Jordan. Saying, this is one of 3 places where Moses said before the Omnipresent, I will not leave you until you inform me whether you will fulfill my request or not. Well, another point that requires understanding, what does it mean that Moses says, I want an answer? The Kli Yakar raises a difficulty with Rashi. Rashi explained that even though the righteous could rely on their good deeds, in all places they ask only for a free gift. And this is difficult. From where would it enter your mind that they would rely on good deeds they have already done? After all, man never holds any claim of debt against the Holy One, blessed be he, for all the commandments a person performs are not enough to repay the kindnesses he has bestowed. All his repayments are upon him for what God has already done for him, for his kindness has overwhelmed him from the day he was born. Which person can say, for everything I did, Holy One, blessed be he, this is what you return to me? What is everything you did? What does it mean to ask, even though the righteous could rely on their good deeds? Asks the Kli Yakar, how can one rely? What is what you did compared to what the Holy One, blessed be he, gave you? And the answer to all this is that what they said, that the righteous can rely on their good deeds, does not refer to those good deeds they have already performed, but rather to the good deeds they are destined to perform in the future. For presumably, every righteous person asks for no physical enjoyment except so that through it he will have an opportunity to fulfill some commandment. Essentially, Moses is saying, Master of the universe, if you let me enter the land, do you know what I can do? How many Torah classes I will teach, how much I will elevate the Jewish people, how much I will uplift them. The Erhachaim HaKadosh asks regarding Moses, if Moses enters the land and builds the holy temple, what will happen to that temple? It will never be destroyed. And if the holy temple is never destroyed, then the Jewish people might pay the ultimate price. So why is that good for us? How can Moses grieve and plead to enter the land, When in the merit of his not entering, the Holy One, blessed be he, can destroy the holy temple, poured out his wrath upon wood and stones, and through this the Jewish people were saved. What did Moses want? Of course, there could be another generation that would not cause the destruction of the temple. But simply speaking, the sages say this was a blessing for us. One of the explanations for why from midday on Tisha B'Av it is permitted to sit on a chair is because the Holy One, blessed be he, poured out his wrath on wood and stones, and through this Israel was saved on Tisha B'Av. The Chaim HaKadosh says, if Moses had entered the land, it is true the temple would not have been destroyed, but the Jewish people would never have reached this state of destruction in the first place. Moses says to the Holy One, blessed be he, I want to enter the land not for myself. Moses can rely on his good deeds, not of what took place for 40 years or 120 years, but of what will be. I will uplift all of Israel. However, out of his immense humility, he did not want to make the request contingent upon those good deeds he was destined to perform by entering the land. For perhaps he would enter and not fulfill the commandments, receiving only physical enjoyment without achieving the good. How can you say, give me, and you will see what happens? How can you predict your own future? Therefore, he asked in the language of grace, chanina, merely a free gift. In contrast, it says, at that time, saying, because he made his request based on where he stood at the present moment, holding no merit in his hand, without looking toward the future that he would eventually fulfill commandments. For perhaps it would happen or perhaps it wouldn't. Therefore, he spoke with the word Vetchanan, because he needed to ask for a free gift for that specific time, as stated. There is a unique insight here from the Chaim HaKadosh. It is not simple. Simply speaking, he tells you, the temple wouldn't be destroyed, but Israel might reach severe crisis points. And this is a great lesson for us. I was once visiting a couple whose son was killed in a terrible accident. A child, and the father and mother were there. The mother said, why do I deserve this? Why do I deserve this? And the father said, I don't deserve anything. What kind of claim is that? And she has two claims. One claim when, God forbid, something painful happens. Why, Master of the universe, how could such a thing happen? The simple understanding of Rashi is that the righteous have good deeds to rely upon. Such self-sacrifice for the Jewish people. Moses leads the Jewish people for 40 years, almost gets stoned, goes through very difficult experiences. He has merits. He says, Master of the universe, I have a few merits with the Jewish people, I could ask for something. The Kli Yakar says about Moses or about the righteous, you have nothing to rely upon to say, I did this and I deserve it. There is no such thing. There was a certain rabbi who could not stomach this expression. Whenever he heard someone say, I deserve, he would say, there was one man in the world who said, I deserve, and even what every normal human being deserves, he didn't receive. Who was that? Korah. Korah said, I deserve. Every person deserves 4 cubits for his grave. Korah didn't even get those 4 cubits. There is no, I deserve. So the Kli Yakar sharpens this for us. A person cannot stand behind his merits and say, I did something. If you did, thank God, you were privileged to have life in this world, you were privileged to achieve many things. Don't stand up and say, I have merits. You don't, calm down. Well, behind Vetchanan lie infinite prayers of Moses. Rav Kook, in Moedei Harayah, a book by Rabbi Neriah, several talks of Rav Kook from Suda Shlishit appear there, and there it explains regarding Parshat Vetchanan how the Rav explained these verses in our portion. The Rav says as follows, great character traits that needed to be established in the foundation of the nation were opened by the greatest of the great, and they were the ones who deepened them into the bedrock of the soul and elevated them to the heights of the spirit. When the Jewish people need to acquire a powerful character trait, they do not receive it from some marginal source, but rather the giants of the nation, the foundations of the nation, engraved these great traits within us. The traits of kindness and love were opened by Abraham our father, the traits of strength and awe were opened by Isaac our father, and so on. These traits, gigantic and deeply meaningful traits for the Jewish people, were rooted by the nation's giants in the heart of the nation. Kindness and love are rooted within us, strength and awe are rooted within us, as well as self-sacrifice. And behold, the Holy One, blessed be he, wanted to open the gates of a new trait, to deepen in the heart of the Jewish nation the trait of longing for the land of Israel. So that even when they are on foreign soil, their eyes will be lifted to Zion and their hearts will be filled with yearning for the land of their ancestors. And he arose and opened this trait through the Ra'aya Mehimna, the faithful shepherd, the first messenger sent to redeem Israel. That is to say, when we look with an external view at our portion, we would write a newspaper headline, Moses prayed and was not answered. What does God want from Moses now? What is Moses doing? Seemingly, Moses wants to enter and he doesn't enter. What he wanted to happen didn't happen. In truth, what did the Holy One, blessed be He, want from Moses? The Holy One, blessed be He, wanted Moses to generate here a new trait of yearning for the land of Israel, of praying for the land of Israel, and Moses created that prayer. When Moses prays, praise. Think of a person standing, a target marked out that he wants to reach, and he prays for it, not 10 times, not 100 times, 515 prayers. Master of the universe, I want such and such. And how much faith is needed in the power of prayer, to know that prayer sometimes acts like a tunnel, every prayer digs a little bit further. There are women who want to get married, who want children, who say, we prayed, we did every possible segula, but perhaps a little bit more is needed. There is a famous song by Avraham Fried, Master of the universe, I know that the third temple is not built of stones, it is built of tears. And if one more tear is missing, please take mine. The Holy One, blessed be He, stops Moses and says to him, let it suffice thee, speak no more unto me of this matter. It is written in holy books that if Moses had prayed just one more prayer he would have been answered. The Holy One, blessed be He, said to him, I do not want to answer you, stop. How much must one believe that prayer works? But first of all, there is such a concept that as much as a person pleads, it has an impact. Things make an impact, even if the Holy One, blessed be He, does not want it, things can have an effect in one way or another. So apparently the Holy One, blessed be He, tells him, speak no more to me, your role is apparently not to enter the land. Moses understands this. What would have happened if he entered, that's another account. But sometimes people say, don't push any further, because if you push I will give it to you and it won't be good for you. There is a story about Rabbi Naphtali of Ropshitz, that one day his rabbi called him and said, go home, I don't want you to stay here. He asked him, what did I do? Go home, I don't want you to stay here. He went to the Rebbitzin. He said to the Rebbitzin, why is the rabbi throwing me out? I am his most loyal student. Why does he tell me, go home, what is this? So the Rebbitzin said to him, I will speak with the rabbi. She went to the rabbi, and the rabbi said to her, I never say no to you. This time too I won't say no to you. I hope we won't regret this. After some time, Rabbi Naphtali of Ropshitz arrived at his rabbi's reception room. And he saw there a Jew who had recently committed a very severe sin, standing there in the reception room, waiting for the rabbi. He said to him, what, have you no shame? Insolence. What nerve? Get out of here. The Jew left. Suddenly the rabbi's door opened, and he asked, where is the person who was here? They told him who was here. He said, run quickly and look for him. They found that same Jew whom he had thrown out, and the rabbi set a table for him, prepared refreshments, put out food, honored him greatly, and spoke with him in private for an hour. Afterward he called Rabbi Naphtali of Ropshitz and said to him, know that the story is like this man was once a follower of mine, and for some time he didn't come, and he drifted and deteriorated. At first he committed minor sins, then more severe sins, until he said to himself, why am I fighting the evil inclination? Enough, I will convert to Christianity and that's it, I'll do whatever I want. But before I take such a step, I will travel once to the Rebbe. If he accepts me, good, if he doesn't accept me, I've cut ties with everything. All of this I saw. And I also saw that you would see the sin he committed just now, and you would have no patience for him. You would say, such a sin. Get out. I knew you wouldn't be able to tolerate him. That's why I sent you home, and by a miracle we managed to find him, bring him back, draw him close, and bring him back in repentance. Sometimes we say to someone, yeah, fine, but what will be the price? There will be a price. So in the grand scheme where the Holy One, blessed be He, knows everything, he knew how to manage, just as the Rebbe here managed in the end. But in his foresight he said, don't be here, I don't want you here. Let us return to the longings for the land of Israel. And I besought the Lord at that time, In the middle of Rav Kook's words, Moses poured out supplications and prayers, and expanded and deepened greatly in his entreaties and supplications. From the numerous prayers of Moses, a most profound wellspring of yearning for the land of Israel was opened, whose refreshing power is good for all generations. And ever since, anyone who draws from the wellspring of Moses, even if he is in distant lands, yearns for the land of Israel, and there is no end to the thirst and no limit to the longing, for great is the wellspring and deep it is. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov said, "Wherever I travel, I am traveling to the land of Israel." A kind of endless yearning for the land of Israel, and this is a powerful trait, and Moses planted this trait right here in our portion. The Chasam Sofer talks about a verse later in the portion where it is written, "Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord, the God of thy fathers, hath promised thee, a land flowing with milk and honey." The verse seemingly lacks clarity. What is the connection between keeping the commandments and a land flowing with milk and honey? Syntactically, the verse doesn't flow, "Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord, the God of thy fathers, hath promised thee, a land flowing with milk and honey." What is the connection between a land flowing with milk and honey and, "Hear, O Israel"? It seems proper to explain. Behold, in all these portions he repeats and triples in his rebukes and mentions the land of Israel in every single detail. Parashat Devarim, Vetchanan, Ekev, are full of the land of Israel. And it is for a wonderful virtue, segula, for mentioning the Holy Land generates holiness in the heart of the listener. Just saying the words, land of Israel, it impacts us with holiness. Just as with impurity, it shall not be heard upon your mouth, not to mention the name of impurity, like anyone who says, ah, Rashav, etc. So too the opposite in holiness, in mentioning the Holy Land and holy people. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov also has a teaching on this, and a song was composed about it. Today it is a very popular song called Names of the Righteous, a popular song among the youth mentioning the names of many, many righteous people, and the idea is that mentioning the names of the righteous itself makes an impact. There are those who say that mentioning on Saturday night, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev says, to say his name, to say the name of the Baal Shem Tov. So the Chasam Sofer says, saying, land of Israel, impacts holiness. And this is the meaning of the verse, hear, O Israel, if you hear the name Israel, and you obey his voice through the mention of the name Israel. It concludes, for example, as the Lord, the God of thy fathers, hath promised thee, a land flowing with milk and honey. Just as the Holy One, blessed be he, mentions to us the land of Israel in every single matter, so that through the mention, holiness will be added to you. How much the land of Israel impacts holiness upon us. I want to tell a story about the Chasam Sofer, which relates to this day, a dramatic story. On the eve of Tisha B'Av at midday, according to some opinions it is already forbidden to study Torah, the Chasam Sofer closed his book and entered his room. One of his students, named Rabbi Moshe Hamburg, decided he wanted to know what the Chasam Sofer was doing now. He peeked through the keyhole and saw the Chasam Sofer opening the book of Lamentations, studying Lamentations, and tears streaming from his eyes. And he takes a cup and collects his tears in the cup. He collected a quantity of tears in his cup, and at the final meal before the fast, Suda Hamafseket, he drank his tears. This student, Rabbi Moshe Hamburg, immigrated to the land of Israel, lived in the old city of Jerusalem, and on the eve of Yom Kippur he stood facing the Temple Mount and tried to cry like that. To drain his strength, he could not manage to fill a cup with tears. Not an easy thing. The Chasam Sofer shows us what mourning is, what yearning for the land of Israel is. How the giants of Israel lived their connection to the land. Well, what we will see now is Re'ah Kadesh. I didn't know what this book was. In the past week I came across a wonderful Torah teaching that we will see now, and last night someone checked on the internet for me and told me, this is Rabbi Naftali of Ropshitz, whom we mentioned. And he has a mind-boggling idea here. He says as follows, and the main intention of Moses in his prayer was that his glory, blessed be his name, should be revealed immediately then, and this is why he asked to enter the land of Israel with all of Israel, so there would be no more exile, for he would rectify everything. Moses wants to enter in order to rectify everything. And here he gives a hint terrifying in its power, For the Holy Zohar, the truth is I once didn't understand this, for many years I didn't understand this. The Holy Zohar says that when we follow the first verses of the Book of Lamentations, Ika, we say there, how Ika did the city sit solitary, that was full of people. Says the Holy Zohar, the acronym spells Eva Ra, evil enmity. I didn't know what that meant. Fine, what does that mean? Slowly things became clear, and this year I saw a few very special things about this. What is enmity? Eiva. A type of hatred. Where is Eiva written in the Torah? The first enmity mentioned in the Torah, and I will put enmity Eiva between thee and the woman. Eva, what is Eiva? Eva is the evil inclination, it is a force of evil in the world that separates us from the Holy One, blessed be He. That is the role of this enmity. That same enmity, which stems from the sin of Adam. In the sin of Adam lies the root of the word Ika, how? Where? Ayeka, where art thou? That is to say, Ika and Ayeka come together with Eva, enmity. Moses pleads and says, and I besought the Lord at that time, Be'ed Hahi. The acronym of Be'ed Hahi spells Eva. Moses says, Master of the universe, I want to rectify the Eva. How will I rectify the Eva? Through Baya, entry into the land. Baya is composed of the same letters as Eva. The rectification of Ika Yashva Vedad, the rectification of Eva, the rectification of the sin of Adam, the rectification of the sin that divided between the land of Israel and us, is found in arriving in the land, in connecting to the land. He says, this is what Moses wants. When he says Moses wants to rectify everything, what is rectifying everything? Not only the sin of the spies, but the first sin, the primordial sin, which caused all our falls, that is the sin of Adam, that is the Eva. Moses says, Master of the universe, let me rectify it. And this is what he hinted in, at that time, Be'ed Hahi, the letters of Eva, for in the sin of Adam the Lord, blessed be He, said, and I will put enmity Eiva, for then the power of the Sitra Akra other side was aroused. And from this rolled forth, Ika Yashva Vedad, Higher, the acronym of Eva. And when all this is rectified in the future, the letters of Eva will become the letters of Baya. Baya means both to come and Baya means unification, that there will be a unification between him, blessed be his name, and the assembly of Israel. And this is the prayer of Moses Vetchanan, and what was his supplication at that time? That the Eva, enmity, be transformed into Baya, unification. Indeed, very similar to this writes the Magen Abraham, expands on this, and the Magen Abraham says that in Parashat Meta, when Moses is angry with the children of Gad and the children of Reuben, he says to them, you are playing it like the sin of the spies, and in the sin of the spies it is written, and the Lord's anger was kindled at that time, Be'ed Hahi. And then the Holy One, blessed be He, decreed not to enter the land. Says the Magen Abraham, the Lord's anger at that time, Af Hashem Be'ed Hahi, the acronym spells Eva. That same inclination, that same perspective that distances us from the land of Israel, is connected to that Eva, and our rectification is to connect to the land, and the connection to the land is the rectification for Eva. In the Midrash they speak of Moses's prayer and say as follows, now we will read some difficult words of Moses. Earlier we said in the name of the Kli Yakar, how can one say, I deserve? Moses says things here. At that hour, Moses said before the Holy One, blessed be He, Master of the universe, it is revealed and known before you my toil and my pain that I pained myself over Israel until they became believers in your name. How much pain I suffered over them with commandments until I established for them Torah and commandments. I said, just as I saw their distress, so shall I see their good. And now that the good of Israel has arrived, you say to me, you shall not cross this Jordan. Behold, you make your Torah a mockery, as it is written, in his day thou shalt give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor, and setteth his heart upon it. Lest he cry against thee unto the Lord, and it be sin in thee. A man worked, the Torah commands to pay him on that very day. Is this the payment for 40 years of labor that I toiled until they became a holy and faithful nation? Master of the universe, what about, in his day you shall give him his hire? Give me something. The Master of the universe does not agree. Says the Sfat Emet. Here the text cuts off in the original transcript. May we merit, with God's help, very soon indeed, the rebuilding of the Holy Temple, complete redemption, complete consolation for the Jewish people. Amen.